Hi guys, how's it going? Welcome into the show tonight. It looks like we have officially. It looks like we have 7 people in on YouTube. I'm gonna get you guys all loaded up and in pretty soon, and we're just gonna talk tonight about these 2 NFL teams. It's time to get back to football. That's our bread and butter here on the show. And so we're going to talk about the 2 teams, and you guys are really going to be a vital part of this show tonight. I know that a lot of other shows sometimes it'll be me and Bruce the Sports Doc, and we'll just talk about Sixers or golf or whatever, and that fills in the time in April for sure. But tonight we're actually going to talk ball, and we're actually going to talk something that we like together. So I'm going to try to even get this, get brighter if I can. That even looks even more impressive, looks even brighter, so the picture's better, and here we go. So going to log into YouTube right now, and we're going to get started. So here we go. Opening up Google Chrome, we are going to look at the 49ers 2018 schedule first. I think that that's a great place to start. It's the San Francisco 49ers 2018 schedule. Great place to start. Jabari, how are you, my friend? It's great to have you back here on the show. Thank you so much. And we have a Vikings fan in the house. So my guy, if you want me to say your name, I can. It's 10X Trick Shots. He's a Vikings guy. Loves USA. We have a Giants fan, Hakeem, and Bay Area is a Niner fan. So we're going to start with the Niners. I should have a poll because I think right now the other fan base needs to catch up to the Niners. You guys set the pace every time, the Niner Empire. And but it looks like we have a Vikings fan tonight. So if we have a Vikings fan, we'll definitely go and check out the roster and everything, because Minnesota is going to be a team where it really is Super Bowl or bust in Minnesota this year. Okay, so the Niners' schedule this year, other than the division guys, they're going to have the New York Giants as a home game. This is 2018. They're going to have at Green Bay. That is going to be amazing. Wow, this schedule's fantastic. At Kansas City, so you're going to have a game where we're going to see Jimmy Garoppolo playing potentially Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy and the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. That's going to be an incredible game. And then I'll tell you what. The Kansas City game, that could be a preview of the Super Bowl, because like Alex Smith leaving with Colin Kaepernick coming in, I have incredible confidence in Pat Mahomes. I mean, in everyone's second season, that's when people make the leap. And Carson Wentz was going to be a Super Bowl quarterback if he didn't get injured. He could have won an MVP. Derek Carr, I believe, was maybe in his second year when he won the MVP, or when he should have before the Indianapolis ankle game happened. So I think that that's going to be spectacular. You look at the game at the Chargers, you look at the game at Minnesota, this schedule's freaking absurd. I mean, in the NFC North, the San Francisco 49ers are playing the Packers and the Vikings, because I think Detroit finished higher than the Green Bay Packers, and that's why the schedule's so lopsided. At home, you have Denver. Oakland will be at home. The schedule's incredible. So many great, fascinating games. The NFC South team is at Tampa Bay, which I think is going to be a challenge, because I think Tampa's going to be much improved. So I look at this schedule, and I think that it's one of the hardest schedules in the NFL. Chicago at home, though, that's a win. Denver, Detroit at home, that's a win. Let's see what other games are at home out of division. I think a whole bunch of these are wins. Detroit's a win. You also have to have Chicago. So those are W's on the schedule. Denver, that means Oakland's also at home. That's a W. So technically the Niners, I believe that they should go. If the Niners have 8 home games, which I believe I believe everybody has, the 5 games that they have at home are going to be, other than the division games, they're going to have Chicago, which is a win, Denver, which is a win, Detroit is a dead win, Oakland's a win, and for some reason, what is there, a London game on this schedule? Maybe I missed one, but overall you should win. Yeah, it's unfortunate. How do you Niners fans feel about Oakland leaving to go to the Bay Area? How do you guys feel about that? And after this, I'm going to look at the roster again. I have to kind of catch myself up on that. Yeah, they're going to miss the rivalry. And you look at Oakland, I love that John Gruden is there. I'm so curious really about, how the Raiders are going to look this year under John Gruden. He's been out of the NFL for a while. I hope that Chucky honestly succeeds. He's one of the good guys. He works really hard. I know he cut Marquez King in the offseason, and that was controversial amongst Raider fans. They got in Jordy Nelson, a guy that I think is going to help them out. Michael Crabtree is gone. So you look at Oakland, their running game is pretty much unsolved. Derek Carr at the quarterback position is going to need to play better. Amari Cooper actually struggled a lot last year, dropped a lot of passes, but I think he can recover. Khalil Mack's a talent, but they need to improve that secondary. I mean, Garyon Conley was very up and down last year. Sean Smith's completely gone, I believe. So they need a lot of help. They have a very old secondary, and their secondary is not good at covering people. I mean, Carl Joseph can hit, but they can't cover people at all. UCF Jaguar. I think a lot of people would take what you just inserted there in the comment section, sir. I would definitely have that. I haven't had too many of those, man. That would be sweet. But let's try to get that thing going. That's why we do this show, right? So that we can have those opportunities, sir. Logging into my Twitter page right now. Oh, yeah, good point. Because they might move to San Francisco. I like Oracle Arena. How many people have been to the Oracle on this podcast? How many people have been? Because the Oracle, I'll tell you, the Oracle I love. It's a very small old venue. It's absolutely fantastic. Every seat in the stadium's great, and it's tradition. I mean, I remember watching Don Nelson and those teams, the We Believe team, Steven Jackson. The Warriors were shit for a long time. I mean, Beadrins was my guy in 2K though. Andres Beadrins was great. Oracle, it's unbelievable, man. It's super loud. You're right. The acoustics in there. Same with Arco Arena. I wish I could have gone to Arco Arena in Sacramento when Peja was there, when Brad Miller, Mike Bibby, Doug Christie, C. Webb, that team, and that team got jobbed by Tim Donahue, if you guys remember that. I was really more into the NBA in the early 2000s. You'd rather go to the Staples Center. I've never been there. The lighting for the Lakers game kind of pisses me off. It's so damn dark. It's weird. The noise is kind of so old school. It's definitely a historic venue, but I would take the Clippers lighting over the Lakers lighting. I don't know about you guys. Yeah, that Kings-Lakers thing was awesome. Kobe and Shaq, the Lakers actually being relevant, Phil Jackson versus Rick Adelman. You're right, the early 2000s was just the shit. Reggie Miller was out there playing. You had NBA jams. I mean, that was really the shit, and guys really cared. There were a lot of assholes during that time, or guys that would get in each other's faces. Ron Artest was such an entertaining guy to watch. Steven Jackson was so much fun to watch. and absolutely. Manny, you're one of my guys that your Manny Flo's the one Raider guy here, man. So I got to give him a huge shout out. So anyway, you guys watch WrestleMania? Do you guys care about that at all? I know a lot of people on the Sports Fury were watching that last night. I'm going to go head into my Periscope and see what's going on. But overall, I look at this Niners schedule, and I don't think it is too bad. I actually do think it's kind of hard, but I have high expectations for this year. I'm having trouble waiting until football season starts. There's not a whole lot going on in my life. I'm waiting for the NFL draft to start. I think that all the storylines have kind of played themselves out, and we're just kind of in a waiting period after free agency. So I don't know about you guys, but yes. Saul asked me, what do you think about all these Golden State fans? Well, if you're an NBA basketball fan, it's hard to really be compelled by the Lakers. It's hard to get, obviously, to be a Kings fan. It's just devastatingly hard. So a lot of people will have to resort to teams that actually have a chance of winning, which is like 5 teams. And if you don't have a chance of winning, you can either be Milwaukee, you could be the Utah Jazz and get beat soundly in 6 games and have 0 chance. I mean, with the freedom of motion in the NBA, covering a Greek freak, covering LeBron's impossible. So the NBA is at its peak when you get to the finals, and everybody's going to choose either LeBron or KD. So I completely understand it because there's no parity in that damn league. I personally, everybody hates Draymond Green. I don't hate Draymond Green. I think he brings good energy. I actually think he's an entertaining player. And everybody hates on guys like Draymond, and I actually kind of like Draymond Green. So my favorite NBA team, kind of grew up around Philadelphia and New Jersey. So I like Jason Kidd and the Nets growing up. But ever since they moved to Brooklyn and that Russian owner took over, I have to admit I'm into the Sixers. So Allen Iverson, growing up with him, George Lynch and those guys. But I'll definitely take the Sixers on that one. Man, right now am I a Warriors fan? All right, here we go. Let's check this out. So I'm going to open up my Periscope app right now. I have 19 viewers on here. I really appreciate you guys also coming to chill with me tonight. And if you guys have any comments, please comment below. Comment on Periscope what you want me to discuss. So here we go. When I look at the Niners roster, let's really look at the defense, okay? John Lynch loves Cassius Marsh. Cassius was one of the first guys signed, okay? Cassius Marsh, okay? You have DJ Jones. Now, DJ Jones, is he from Mississippi? He is, okay? He's from Ole Miss. He's mostly a backup. I believe he might be a run stopper. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Sheldon Day from Jacksonville. Seems like a veteran player. Let's see how old he is. He's a young guy. He's 23 years old from Notre Dame. He must have been a late draft pick in the NFL. So let's see. So Sheldon Day is there. We have Ronald Blair. But you look at Solomon Thomas, and he is really going to be a guy that needs to get more sacks. I mean, let's look at Solomon's stats from last year. I don't know how many sacks he acquired last year. But I don't think it was nearly enough. Now, he did great in run stop. He got 3 sacks last year. 41 tackles last year. All right. So his tackles against Jacksonville, that was his best game. He got 6 tackles. He also got a sack against Blake Bortles. But let's look at the game log really for Solomon Thomas. He finished strong towards the end of the year. At first he started, and he got 9 tackles actually in the loss at Washington. That was when I believe CJ came in the game and played pretty well. But overall, the guy needs to get more tackles on the run. He only got 41 tackles, and he got 3 sacks. So I want to see Solomon this year get up to 7 sacks. That's where I'd like to see Solomon go. Sheldon Day is the man. All right, so Sheldon, I'm learning about this on the fly. I don't really, again, like I could pretend like I know it all, like the big boys, like Cowherd and them. It's more fun doing it this way. Brock Coyle right now is slated behind Malcolm Smith and Eli Harold. I believe Eli Harold is a very good player. Malcolm Smith, is this a free agent signing? Because I think Brock Coyle's going to start. So your linebackers here in the 4-3, you're going to have Rubin preferably playing. You're going to have Brock Coyle playing. You just paid him a lot of money. And then your third guy is going to be Eli Harold, right? So is Malcolm Smith a backup, or would you guys like to see Brock Coyle over Malcolm Smith? Well, okay, so Coyle's going to be there during Rubin's suspension. Okay. So I look right now at this team. Armstead's a very good player. DeForest Buckner, let's look at his game log. I think DeForest Buckner was a freaking animal last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think he played great towards the end of last season. When I watched him, he was explosive. The guy has the longest arms. He has a very high upside. This was from the Chip Kelly regime. So if we look at the stats in the game log for the guy, here we go. Let's look at the damn stats. Shoot. Yeah, 9 tackles against the Titans. Incredible in the game where Gould kicked the game winner. 61 tackles and also 3 sacks. So he could get better, but again, he's playing from a position of defensive tackle. He needs to gain some weight. You know, when I look at him, his leverage obviously can get better. So absolutely. He is? That's great news. Just got a very special guest to come on our radio show that we do here in Philadelphia on Wednesday night. So that's tremendous, all right? So DeForest, I look at DeForest, and he's a guy that I honestly have higher expectations for. When I look at the secondary of the 49ers, Jaquiski Tart, I want him to stay healthy. Jimmy Ward, same sort of thing. You have Adrian Colbert versus Jimmy Ward and Tart. That's going to be a good battle. So a lot of guys were saying that Derwin James would not fit in as well. And it's looking like Minkah Fitzpatrick, there's a chance that the 49ers might get him. I mean, Tampa Bay, unfortunately, looks like they're going to get Minkah Fitzpatrick. Really, you look at Sherman. I don't know if I trust Witherspoon enough at that second cornerback position. But looking here at the defense, I think maybe a linebacker, it seems, to replace Eli Harold would be what you guys would want. Is that what you guys are thinking? I don't know. A lot. So some people want a pass rusher. Okay, some people want a pass rusher. I think a linebacker maybe would be preferable. So I look at Tremaine Edmonds. That would seem, I think, like a great fit. I said that John Lynch would want to draft a safety. Now, Jimmy Ward, I believe Jimmy Ward's a free agent coming up. Let's see Jimmy Ward's contract, because one of these guys, Jaquiski Tart, I don't think his contract is up for a couple of seasons. But let's really look at Jimmy Ward, all right? And then we can look at Armstead. He's an unrestricted free agent after this season. He's making $8 million. That's a lot of money for Jimmy Ward. So he needs to play his ass off if he's going to stay on this team. So absolutely. We have a lot of guys rolling in right now on Periscope and on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. So Arik Armstead. You guys wanted to trade Armstead. I think that there would be a market for him in the NFL. Here we go. So Arik is making, he's still young. He's very young, out of Oregon. Another pass rusher. And a guy that is going to be, but you still have him under the rookie contract. He would definitely be appealing. He's only making $1 million per season. So, How did Richard Sherman become a 49er? I'll get to that question in 1 second. Hold on 1 second. All right, we're back. We are freaking back. So the way that Richard Sherman became a 49er is that Kyle Shanahan, I'll tell you why, because Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, they completely re-identified this culture or everything involved. And when Richard Sherman saw the 49ers winning, okay, he knew that it would be a great place. He doesn't like Seattle at all. Richard Sherman wants to kill the Seattle Seahawks. For some reason, he and Russell Wilson did not get along. Maybe Russell Wilson is not genuine because Russell Wilson seems like a robot. Russell Wilson seems like a guy that honestly takes himself too seriously at times from the outside. And if he is not a true, like Tim Tebow-like believer in everything, he could come across as kind of arrogant, kind of distant, kind of like he holds himself in such high regard. Not a guy that's just going to kick back with his teammates. Kind of an elitist type of guy. He's going to hang in the quarterback room. He's a nice guy, but at the same time, I don't see him really galvanizing the locker room. I don't see him really talking to the defensive players. And that's the thing, is that Russell Wilson, as one of our comments here has said, is that he's fake. Now, a lot of people like Russell Wilson. A lot of people absolutely love him. Richard Sherman is a guy that I consider very authentic. A lot of people might not like him. They might not like Michael Bennett. Controversial players, but Sherman wanted to get the hell out of Seattle. He wants to stick it to the Seattle Seahawks. He's from the Bay Area, went to Stanford. John Lynch went to Stanford. And I think it's a great signing for the 49ers because now you need Marquise to develop. You need Trent Taylor to develop. And Richard Sherman has won Super Bowls. He came a play away from winning multiple Super Bowls. He's a guy that's very confident. He's going to get this defense up to speed, a young secondary. So I look at the move, and I don't hate the move at all. So some people, so Mike is saying that Richard Sherman and Michael Bennett were the douchebags of the Seattle Seahawks. And could that be the case? Maybe so. Russell Wilson seems like a good dude. I don't know. I'm more on favor with Richard Sherman because I know Michael Bennett. I know Bennett had that situation in Jacksonville where he tore out Brandon Linder's legs. And now Bennett, has been accused of being arrested. He had a lot of controversy with a Vegas situation. Michael Bennett has a lot more swirling around him than Richard Sherman. Sherman just seems like a guy that originally loved to talk trash, has toned it down quite a bit. And also Michael Crabtree's a lightning rod for players to get pissed off. Aqib Talib hates Michael Crabtree as well. So absolutely. It's a good opinion indeed. It's a fine opinion. So if I were to look at this 49ers defensive roster, I believe that you got to get guys in here. I believe you should still draft, I believe you should probably draft. The highest upside is Tremaine Edmonds. I think he'd be a great, great player. If you have Rubin and Edmonds, are going to be completely set. And then, Brock Coyle can maybe move to another position once Rubin comes back. I don't think you should draft defensive line again. You've done that 3 years. You look here at the cornerback position, and this is a deep cornerback class. Jair Alexander's a good corner. You look at a guy like Isaiah Oliver that a lot of people are really liking out of Colorado. So there's certainly places where the Niners can go on the defensive side of the football. Some guys want to trade down, and absolutely. Did I watch the Aaron Hernandez documentary? I did not. I kind of know. I do know what happened, but was that released recently? I need to find that one out. So overall, then I look at the Niners on the offensive line. You have Weston Richburg at center, Josh Garnett, Trent Brown that got hurt last year but's very good, Joe Staley, and then the left guard position is where you need to figure it out because Lincoln Tomlinson, as nice of a guy as he is, as much of a doctor as he is, who knows if he can really play solid football. He has a little bit of issue moving around. He's not the fastest guard for this offense. Your running back position, you have Joe Williams, which I believe this is a huge year. Him and Breda are going to be competing. Mostert is a guy in the preseason that people liked. Will Mostert make the team or not? Probably not, because Breda is a better version of Raheem Mostert. But Mostert's a guy that really a lot of people have liked. Jerick McKinnon is there. McKinnon and Breda are very similar. The Niners still need to draft a running back. I don't think you have a quality starter. The only guy on this team that can be a quality starter is a guy that we haven't seen at all, and that's relying on a guy, Joe Williams, to be the franchise running back. And that would be a long stretch from a guy who hasn't played football in like 2 to 3 years. So, listen. I don't know about Joe Williams, but he's one of the biggest question marks of this team. Marquette going to the Denver Broncos. I think it's a decent position for him. I don't think the Broncos are doing jack shit, though, this year, unless they get Mayfield in there. I think their team is kind of declining in age. They're kind of on the wrong side of their window. I don't trust Vance Joseph at all. So in that division, you have Kansas City, the Chargers, Oakland. I believe Kansas City's easily going to win again, that division for sure. All right, Mo Money. I kind of agree with you, man. We definitely hit the Niners pretty good. Got to serve the Niner Empire. Tons and tons of fans on here. And by the way, tonight what I think I'm going to do is a lot of times I break down quarterback play, but I haven't played the game, which, a lot of people have said. So I haven't played the game of football. But what I'm going to try to do is I am going to try and break down some cornerback film, and I'm going to watch Richard Sherman going up against the LA Rams in the first I think it's a week 4 game. So I'm going to watch Rams and Seattle and see how Sherman is guarding guys like Sammy Watkins and just kind of look at his style of play. So I think you guys are going to enjoy that. The LA Chargers, they need to fix the middle of their defense. Casey Hayward's a good corner. They need more consistency on the defensive side of the football. I don't love their head coach, Anthony Lynn. They always get off to slow starts, and we'll see. Gordon has to stay healthy and have a big year. But yes, and Saul, hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I think it might be fun. It'll give me something to do. It's hard to fill in time when the season is not here. All right, so let's get to the New York Giants. Everybody is shitting on the Giants right now. 2-14. Colin Cowherd and everybody is saying to blow this shit up. I don't think so at all. I look at this NFC East. I think the Redskins are a non-threat. They're the guy at the bar that ain't going to get the girl at the bar. They're a whole bunch of talk and no action. Kevin Hogan and Alex Smith, they ain't scaring any defenses with those noodle-armed quarterbacks. Terrell Pryor wasn't developed at all. There's no reason why you should be afraid of the Redskins, okay? They have no congruency in what they're doing. They're purgatory. They're the definition of purgatory, okay? So here we go. The New York Giants on defense. This is a defense that, honestly, I expect to be very good. James Betcher is a solid defensive coordinator. The defense is stacked. I mean, Landon Collins, Janoris Jenkins, okay? The strength of your defense is is basically the secondary. Now, Darian Thompson's a guy that can't stay healthy, that really hasn't produced that much. Andrew Adams has actually produced more than Darian Thompson. The Giants should look at drafting another safety. Eli Apple, James Betcher said that he's going to give Eli Apple a second opportunity to play, and that's the right thing to say. We will see. Landon does not like Eli Apple. We will see about how that's going to work out. Kareem Martin is a guy now that's a defensive end, so you're getting some guys from Arizona, Josh Morrow and Kareem Martin. I want to see where that guy, not Double O, because Double O out of UCLA, he went somewhere else, but there was a guy out of Notre Dame that had like a couple of good games last year, Romeo Okwara. That's a guy that actually played great versus the Dallas Cowboys, and right now he is still on, it says he's still on the New York Giants. So Okwara, he's way down the depth chart. So Romeo Okwara is a guy that I really want to see play well. Yeah, Jonathan Stewart's the running back right now. I think, though, I'm worried that Dave Gettleman's just going to trot out Stewart and Wayne Gallman and think that the running back position's okay. He probably isn't a guy that thinks so fondly of the running back position. When you look at the mock draft, when you look at the running backs in this class, I love Ronald Jones out of USC. The guy is lightning fast. The guy can hit a home run on any play. I think he would be a great back to select. I look at the Giants. If I had to put money on the number 2 pick, I think it's going to be Bradley Chubb. So then you can have Bradley Chubb, Olivier Vernon, Dalvin, and Snacks Harrison. I have high expectations for Dalvin Tomlinson. This guy was a second-round pick out of Alabama. He was dominant in the middle of Nick Saban's defense. It was a small, I thought it was a low-risk pick, and Dalvin has to produce. He was hurt last year. B.J. Goodson needs to be healthy and produce. The linebacking core is not very good. Ogletree is a guy that really struggled last year. I like the pick, though, of getting him. But Derek Matthews, Ray Armstrong, could he possibly start? Who the hell knows? The linebackers are very weak when you look at this team. So that's why I would love to see a guy like there's a guy at Josie Jewell at Iowa that's a very good linebacker. So somehow I'd like to see linebacker filled. And then, of course, the offensive line, right? John Jerry needs to be replaced. But the New York Giants, I mean, Eli Manning's arm strength is really starting to affect him at this elderly age. So as much as I love Eli Manning, I have a lot of concern whether he can push the ball down the field. And then we're going to see Brandon Marshall still hanging around. I like the addition of Cody Latimer. I think you can actually utilize him pretty well. Sterling Shepard is a guy that is a household name but hasn't really lived up to his billing. Evan Ingram's going to be great. I mean, this offense has a lot of firepower. The defense has stars. The stars on this team, Olivier Vernon's a star. You know, you look at Landon's a star. Eli Apple could be great. Janoris shuts down Dez every single game. Janoris has been really consistent. I expect Jenkins to be very good again. You have Shepard, Ingram. You have a lot of talent on this team. Eli Manning's been there a while. This is a team that can win the AFC. Oh, yeah. St. Brown is a really interesting prospect, Manny, because, you know, I don't know. The quarterback last year was Brandon Winbush at Notre Dame, and that's a guy that's going to be better in the NFL. He can speak like 10 different languages. He's really bright. He's an interesting draft prospect for sure. I like what the Bucs are doing there, RK, because Jason Pierre-Paul's on the Bucs. You also have Bo Allen, Vinny Curry. They are getting older and wiser on the defensive side of the football. So I like the Bucs. They're not making the splash free agent moves that they've made in the past, like on the offensive side of the ball. But I think that team's going to gel in the locker room now, and that's what's going to be very, very important. So I think it's going to be Saquon. I think it's going to be, honestly, I think it's going to be Bradley Chubb as the pick, then Saquon, then Quentin Nelson. I think Quentin Nelson's losing a lot of steam. Now, if the Broncos take Quentin Nelson, the Colts are going to trade out of that pick probably. And then you look at the Bucs, they're going to probably take Minkah Fitzpatrick. The Bears will probably take Tremaine Edmonds. That leaves the Niners with either Derwin James, either Denzel Ward, which does Denzel Ward have long enough arms? Who knows? And that's what's going to happen, either Denzel Ward or Josh Jackson. Or then you might want to trade back and see what you can do. Because Roquan Smith, he can't shed blocks when you watch Roquan Smith, but he's plummeting down the draft boards. Okay. It was a fun day with you guys today. I really appreciate you guys kind of hanging out on the show. I'm going to do some film reviews later, and it's just good to catch up and talk a little football with all of you guys. So, listen, thank you guys for hanging out, listening to the podcast. Hopefully we figured some things out today. I learned some things that Eli Harold is not very good, and just answered questions and enjoyed the dialogue with all of you guys again. So thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Take care. Have a wonderful evening. Let's do it again tomorrow.